Hello, I'm Jenna. Welcome, especially if this is your first time watching one of my videos. I'm Jenna's Plants on Instagram and I have a lot of houseplants. This video has been really highly requested, so I'm going to take you guys around today, show you all my plants. I think I have around 200 at the moment, but I haven't really counted. The video did get a little bit long just because I didn't want to miss anyone. Not all my plants are looking the greatest. I know a lot of them have mealybugs that I'm dealing with, just suffering from general neglect, but I think anyone who keeps plants knows that's just how it is sometimes. I won't waste any more time talking. I'll just let you enjoy. So welcome to the plant tour. So this is my living room. It's where I keep probably 95% of my plants. I find having everything in one space consolidated really helps me with my plant care and make it not so overwhelming. I used to have more plants in my bedroom, but I'm trying to just get rid of most of those because I find they just get neglected and then they don't look their best, and I enjoy them a lot more if they're out here. Say hi, River. He makes a mess, but he sure is pretty. And loud, but mostly pretty. Okay, so let's start, I guess, on one end and then work our way over. Really quickly, I just keep my little tadpole babies. Where are you? My little tadpole babies just on the counter. These are new guys that just hatched. I just moved them to cups, I think, yesterday. So that'll be really exciting watching them grow. And then in this container I have the recently turned adults. Let's see if I can find anybody quickly for you. These guys are so cute. They make me so happy having watched them grow up from tadpoles. Oh, there's one. And powder orange isopod as well. That's actually the smaller of the two babies. There it goes, completely hidden. So there's two in there. There were two from the last batch that grew all the way from this size into that. So once they grow another 2 or 3 months, I'll sell them, hopefully. Now, this is a west-facing window, so my house is situated this is east, and then that's south. So the majority of my windows are south windows, which, as you can imagine, is pretty good, but I mean, I still use grow lights. This tent is mostly for propagation, so I try and keep them quarantined away from the rest of my plants. These metal shelves, I believe, are Hylas shelves from IKEA. They used to sell them with these plastic covers, but I don't know if they still carry those ones. I know they have the tall ones, or at least they did last time I checked. But these wide ones, they don't seem to really have as much. So anything over here on the top this is a variegated Maranta that I found at my local nursery. It's $15 for this whole plant, so I thought that was pretty good. I was gonna take it and divide out the non-variegated portions, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. This is kind of a staging area for extra plants like my cactus I want to move outside. This is it was a pingdom, but all the pings kind of died in it. So now it mostly has sundews. So I used to have this over by the south facing window, and I think it just got too much sun. And I also had a cover on this, so I think it was just too hot, too humid, and basically all the pings ended up rotting and dying, which is a little unfortunate. So this does not look nearly as good as it did before. So I might get some more pings and kind of redo this in the future and refresh it with some new moss and stuff. Yeah, moss is kind of hard to grow if you don't have like a lot of humidity, like there's not a ton of mosses that really like those conditions. So just a matter of trying to find stuff that works. I have other mosses like, well, this terrarium was looking nicer. Like you can find, I have a nice reel, I think, for when it was looking nicer, but I took some scissors to it to share the moss with people. And I have a little Nepenthes in there who seems to be happy, has opened up a few more pictures, so that's good. I never had much success with Nepenthes before, but I find like care is very similar to moss, at least in my experience, where they don't like to dry out 100%. They like lots of light, and they like nearly 100% humidity. I have a little begonia. I have another begonia that isn't doing too well, but I'll probably stick him outside for the summer. And I might take a leaf or two of this one and plant it in my frog terrarium. We'll see. Again, I got this at my local nursery for just like a couple dollars. So that's pretty, I thought that was a pretty good find. Like, I personally love begonias. I wish it was a bit easier in Canada to get some of the more unusual varieties, but hopefully in the future. Like, there's so many different types of begonias that, you know, I only have room for so many genera of plants, so maybe it's a good thing. This is an elbow monstera propagation. I've actually propagated this a few times for friends, and this one I just cut again, and I'm just growing it, trying to grow it out again, because this stem actually has like at least one more node on it, and it had a bud. Actually, is that a growth point starting to activate? It might be. Well, that would be cool. That didn't take long. I only cut that the other day. Nice. This is a Hoya multiflora. Not doing too well. These guys don't really like to dry out 100%, and I think he's got root mealies. Yep, he does. If you see any pests on my plant, I am aware of it. The thing about pests, like mealybugs and spider mites especially, is like you never seem to get all of them in just one go. So it's kind of a process. So I try not to just freak out about it too much. It kind of just is what it is. This is another little terrarium, not looking the best. Just has some random stuff in it. I think I threw some isopods in here as well. Yeah. I mean, I think what I like about this terrarium is that I essentially just completely neglected it. Didn't water it for like probably 6 months, and everything is like at least alive, even if it doesn't look the greatest. So that is the nice thing about a closed terrarium. It's very, very low maintenance. So if I open up I don't really want to call it a greenhouse, because this cover is not really good for keeping in the humidity, but I do think it's good for like quarantining and stuff. I have most of my rehab plants, or plants I'm trying to grow up and sell in here or propagate. So these are some of my Hoyas that I will either sell or have for trading. Look at this Wilbur Graves China, or Hoya no ID. Those new leaves are just beautiful. I'm really excited about that one. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it's great that they propagate super easy and grow super easily. I have, so this is the baby of the previous albo that I showed you. So this one is already claimed. I'm going to be trading this one with a friend, but I was really, really happy with the way the variegation comes out. You never know, like with a mid-cutting, how the variegation is going to be. But that one has some beautiful marbling, so I know that that's going to be a really good plant. And I mean, it has a little bit more green as well, which just means the plant is going to grow pretty quickly and isn't going to die. So that's good. I have a prop bin as well. This is a storage container from IKEA. The lids don't like snap on, which is a bit unfortunate, but I mean for propagations and stuff, it doesn't really matter. So I have just moss in here. Moss is always like my go-to, like it just works. Like I use perlite, but I found that the perlite really compacted over time and kind of broke apart, and then I found it wasn't working as well for my propagations anymore. I had more issues with rot. And I mean, I guess you could say that that will happen with sphagnum moss too. Like it will also decay over time, but at least I find it like I can tell when that's happening versus like with the perlite, I can't always tell. Moss also has antifungal properties, which is good. And I know a lot of people don't like using it for Hoyas because it becomes really hard to disentangle it from the roots, but I find like as long as you get it early enough. Now this one's pretty firm in there. That's a variegated Hoya species Bertonier, I believe. Yeah, that's pretty well rooted in there, so I've definitely let them go like a little too long. But it's not impossible to get the moss off the roots, especially if it's kind of like loose like I have it in here. I found that works pretty well. Now, this is a Hoya Polynera Broquette or silver. Now, I came so close to killing this plant. The base got stem rot, so these two new leaves were growing. And this new leaf on the left that was a little bit smaller, I was like, why is that just like stopped growing and looks a little bit yellow at the base? And I watered it and everything. Like I think I let it get a little bit too dry between waterings. I watered it. The leaves didn't plump up. They seemed like this one, can you see how it has a bit of yellow on it? So it had a bit of yellow before just from some damage on the back of the leaf, but I noticed it was going slightly more yellow. So I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna just chop it up and see what happens because I can't afford to lose this plant. And fortunately it had some new growth, so I hope that even if I lost the bottom section, because now it's rooted now, which is amazing. But I don't know if you can see how short that stem is. Because when I checked the stem farther down, it really seemed like it was starting to rot. Yeah, look at that. Look how short I had to cut it because I was just so afraid of it rotting. But hey, it's rooted now. And I think both sections are going to make it, so I am so happy about that. High humidity helps with rooting, and also just if Hoyas and stuff need to recover, I'll sometimes just stick them in here. I don't, again, with sphagnum moss, I find I don't have a lot of issues with rot, so I find that that's why I keep going back to it. On the last shelf, I have, well, I have a clarinervium stump that I think is dead. I thought maybe if I put it in here and neglected it, it would come back to life magically, but it did not. I have some just potted up propagations in here. Another Wilbur Graves China. Some of my mom's Hoyas that she's still trying to sell. Florida Ghost. Syngonium aurea. I think that new leaf is going to be really, really nice. So hopefully those will be ready to sell soon. And each of these shelves has a 24-watt grow light in it. I think because of the grow lights as well, it really just dries things out. So the humidity is not super high, and that's why I need the extra like bins just to keep the humidity up. Now on this shelf, this IKEA greenhouse is kind of dirty, so just forgive me. That's the thing no one tells you about houseplants, is like they're actually like super messy. I'm trying to keep just some of my Hoyas in here that I know don't like as much light and they like a little bit cooler temperatures, because this is an east-facing window. So this is my Hoya platycollis, which is notorious for going yellow, so I thought I would just experiment to see if I put it in here where it gets only morning light, and yeah, that maybe it wouldn't go as yellow, but I think that new leaf is still starting to go yellow, but that might also be a matter of I haven't watered it when I should. Could probably use a drink. Polyneuras are another one that don't like a lot of heat. They like it under 25 degrees Celsius, which is actually kind of difficult to maintain. I think that's like, so that's under 80 degrees, and I find in the summer with the sun shining in, it gets above that very easily, especially in the greenhouse cabinet. So that little cutting has seemed to do really, really well in here. Probably could also use some watering. Probably everything in here could use some watering. Oh wow, that is like bone dry. How are you still alive, you little begonia? Okay, well, definitely need to water some of these guys after, but I guess that's why I put my begonias in here too, is like a lot of direct sun, they're just so thin, they burn easily. They're not looking the greatest right now, but sometimes it's just hard to keep up with watering them, you know. That's a Hoya sweet scent, which I've struggled a lot with, but seems to be doing better now, and actually seems to like the slightly less sunlight, so that's positive. It's kind of growing out the top of the greenhouse, so I might need to get a trellis or something. I need to clean up this whole greenhouse again, but that's the thing about plants, there's always something to do. I have more moss prop bins down on the bottom shelf. These always stay closed. This is where I grow my live sphagnum. I just cut it back so it doesn't look as lush as it maybe does sometimes. And these are just random plants and rehabs. Like I find if I put them in here, like if they're gonna live, if I put them in here, then they will. If they're gonna die, well, then nothing can save them. Oh look, there's a little cuprea bulb I threw in here. That wasn't up the other day. That's kind of cool. Like, I kind of just throw random stuff in here and see what grows and what doesn't. These are really cool because these are dischidia seedlings, dischidia pectinoides. It got a seed pod, well, it got flowers and then it got a seed pod just without me trying to pollinate it or do anything, and I just threw the seeds in here, and amazingly they germinated and started to grow, which is just like so crazy to me. I also have my other Nepenthes in here that I really like because he gets starts out very yellow but then turns more red over time. And he just had a new picture open up the other day. Look how pretty that is. So nice. See those roots? They look like they're rotten, right? But that's actually just how they look. Like Nepenthes roots are just black, which is so cool. I really like these guys, and I'm so glad I can grow them. And I think they like the live sphagnum moss. Like I just find that when the moss is doing well, then the Nepenthes are also doing well. And I always notice that in like pictures of you know, people on Instagram, it's like if they grow Nepenthes, they're always in live sphagnum moss, which probably they didn't do like intentionally. It probably just was dry moss at one time that has come to life. And I hope that will happen for me too. I hope that my other prop box, which has just dried sphagnum moss, will also come to life. I think that would be really cool. This is just an even more random prop box where I throw things in that I don't really care if they live or not. I'll usually experiment with like collected mosses from outside in here. I collected this from outside, but I'm not actually sure if it's a moss. And I mean, the thing about Canada is that since we have winter, everything goes dormant, so not everything is like suitable for living in a terrarium or something that's like warm all the time. So I just experiment sometimes. This is a just a Monstera adansonii growing up some driftwood. I use this plant all the time as an example of how if a plant wants to climb, it will climb on pretty much anything. This is like a very aggressive climber. He's kind of run out of pole at the top here. Still looking pretty good, even though I think he's got some spider mite damage. And also pretty much never gets watered. So, looks pretty good, all things considered. In the corner, I'm 99% sure this is a large form Monstera. It's gotten a little bit stretched out just because it does not get a lot of light in that corner. But I mean, it takes up the space really, really well, and I don't really want to move it to a better spot. Just because I know it's like, obviously it's surviving there. It's still putting out leaves, it's just doing it at maybe a slower rate. And with a few less fenestrations than if I put it elsewhere, but right now I'm okay with that. I might move it. Okay, so next are these plant shelves. Don't mind the like random plant things on the bottom. I have to kind of go through and organize all my pots and stuff. And you know, I haven't gone through and picked off all the dead leaves or anything. This guy going yellow is a Dioscorea elephantipes, I believe. It has the really, really cool cracked caudex. And I think this vine is probably just going dormant. Oh, is that a big mealybug? Probably. Yikes. Okay, well, I should probably just snip that vine off if it's got mealybugs. It will put out in another shoot sooner or later. That is fine. This is my Syningia. Gets red flowers. I don't think it was getting enough light in the springtime when it was kind of opening, so these leaves are not as big as they could be, but it's still alive. These guys also go dormant over the winter. This is a outer variegated Hoya incrustata, which is very dehydrated. I feel like it's dry and probably has root rot, so that's why. Syngonium Pink Splash, which I never used to like, but they get really dark leaves as they mature. I feel like they look a lot better once they get a little bit bigger. Next shelf I have a Hoya Mathilde, which is just kind of growing like crazy. Super easy plant, like I love this Hoya. Is that more mealybugs? I promise, guys, like I do treat my plants. Like I treat them, I just don't know why. They just keep coming back. It's like you miss one and then next thing you know, there's 1,000 of them. So just another thing on my to-do list. Same with this Hoya elliptica. The leaves are not looking the greatest, and I really believe that's just because, one, it keeps getting mealybugs, and two, whenever I treat them, like if the leaves are developing, that's harsh on them. So it's not looking as greatest. I'm trying to also like trail him around the pot and get him a little bit fuller in the center. You can see some of the lower leaves have died off. But that's okay. These guys are really quick growers, so I'm not actually too worried about him. This is a Scindapsus Silver Lady, which is a pretty slow grower. Wish the leaves were bigger. But he's starting to vine. I don't know. I feel like she would be prettier if she was nice and full, but she gets kind of neglected. Probably one of my favorite Scindapsus varieties though. Here we have my, let me just pull this guy out because I love the Billietier. There we go. There's the Billietier. Orange petioles, super, super, super tough plant, super easy to grow, glossy, just no problems with that guy whatsoever. I just really like him. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And that guy just is in room humidity and does just fine. Let's put the lid back on this terrarium. What do I have in there? I have my blue oil fern. I had it in my frog tank, but I found they just were not getting enough light or something, just was not thriving. This is my variegated Wayetii. Not too much to say about it. It has gotten a lot of new growth recently. Again, like all the Hoyas on this shelf are having issues with mealybugs, and I think plants like this are the problem because, you know, there's just so many places for them to hide. Like no matter how much I treat this, I just feel like I can never get all of them, so this guy may actually have to just live outside over the summer because of that. We'll see. This guy, Schismatoglottis, I think. Wallichii. I don't know why. I've just never really loved this guy as much as I thought I did. So, won't spend too long on him. Yes, he's sitting in water. He's fine. Well, these guys like a lot of water. I'll probably dump that out later. Epipremnum Baltic Blue, Silver Dollar Vine, an oxalis that's chronically thirsty, Hoya macrophylla, well now is latifolia I believe, but the outer variegated version puts out a lot of these like pure white leaves, also likes to get mealybugs all the time. Have a thirsty Maranta. I do really like this Maranta, by the way. It's just due for a watering. Begonia maculata, not looking its greatest. Getting kind of crispy around the edges, getting a little bit sprawly, so I might just have to chop these vines back. And I think, yep. I also can never keep up with watering this one. So he might have to go into a self-watering pot because honestly, it's like every time I water, he's like super thirsty. And I water my plants or check on my plants to see if they need watered pretty frequently. Up here, this is my Epipremnum Cebu, which is actually not the right pronunciation. I forget what the right pronunciation is, but it's named after a place, so we actually know what the correct pronunciation is. There, let me get it in the light. It's actually grown really quickly all of a sudden. I snipped the vines in the pot like after wrapping them around. That's like the best thing to do if you want a full plant, like wrap the vines around and then once they're rooted, just like snip the vines. He's started to do really good and has gotten a really nice color to him. So I'm really liking him lately. This is a global green pothos. This is my fern leaf cactus, getting new growth here, getting new growth there, growing into the window over there, getting new growth here. Like I just absolutely love this plant and the way it just like cascades and makes itself fuller by the growth points that it gets. It did not look nearly this good when I got it. They need a lot of light to get like the long, wide fronds, but if you have the light, man, those are awesome plants. Like I don't think I would ever want to really get rid of that one. I love the orchid cactus. Even though I find they're not like super popular or anything, I love them. This is, what do they call this? The geoplant? You get out of the way. Has really black foliage. I don't think I've gotten too many new leaves, so it's hard to say how easy that is to maintain. I think that's a newer one. Now, what I didn't realize about these plants, like they look like they're tough, but they're actually like super thirsty. You can tell when they're thirsty. They just get like so droopy, which I wasn't really expecting. They are really pretty. Like I just wish this one would kind of like get a bit more full. So I haven't really passed my final judgment on this plant, whether I think it's like worth it, because plants that can't handle being underwatered, like, I don't know, you may not survive in this house unless you're one of my favorites. Those are some codexes that aren't doing great. I still have not figured out them super well. This is my Epipremnum albo. I mounted it onto this pole a while ago. I believe it's gotten spider mites since, so it's not looking its greatest. I also chopped up the vines in the pot a few times. After I repotted it, it lost some of its lower leaves. You can see there's some yellowing and stuff, which is unfortunate, but these guys are such quick growers that I'm not too concerned about it. I know that he'll, focus please. I know that he'll grow back and be fine. The variegation on this guy has always been super pretty, so I know once he gets lush and full again, he'll just be like a stunning plant. And I'd love to get some actual splits in these guys because they look gorgeous when they're mature. Like, of all the plants I want to get to actually be nice and mature, and Epipremnum albo is definitely one of them. They're just stunning. Here is my Alocasia Zebrina reticulata. See how big those leaves are? Like, honestly, the plant is like down there near the floor, and the stems are probably like, I don't know, 3 feet high probably, which is just like crazy. The light sections do tend to burn, especially because this guy wants to grow like this into the south-facing window. I try not to worry about him too much. He's actually pretty easygoing. See how small of a pot he's in though? He needs repotted soon. Well, maybe. Maybe not. He seems happy, so. This is an Alocasia, what did he even call it? Pink dragon? Because of the pink stems. I actually like this guy a lot more than I thought I would. Nice big leaves. This guy just came from the grocery store. Had spider mites, of course. I think is mostly treated now. But the pink stems are actually like super pink and pretty. So love that. I have next a ZZ Raven that's just getting some new growth. It's just started to turn. This is actually the first new growth I've ever gotten off of this guy since like when I got him last year. So maybe not 12 months, but maybe at least 6 months. These really are awesome plants, although I find like I didn't get this growth until I gave him some more light. Okay, next is Philodendron mexicanum. Really, really cool plant. Really, really tough. Do I have one that has like the cool pattern on the back of the leaves that get like splotchy red back? Some of them are more prominent than others. I cut it, so it was putting out these massive leaves, and then look at this little tiny leaf. But that's what happens when you cut plants. They really go backwards in their maturity, so we'll see how the next leaf afterwards comes out. Okay, won't dwell too long on this little stand. This Alocasia Black Velvet not doing well, but it got spider mites and is, I've been treating it and it's recovering. Not too much to say about that. This is one of my absolute favorite plants. This is, what do they even call this one? Lemon lime, heartleaf philodendron, hederaceum or cordatum. I don't remember which it is or if they're the same. Anyways, super common plant. The yellow version is honestly like just stunning, and I love the way it fades down from like a very almost orange color if you have lots of light down to like lime green. Love it. Like this is one of my favorite plants, not gonna lie, and it was very inexpensive. So this spot, this shelf, thank you for the word, me, has a lot of my plants that like the most light. So you have succulents. Now, this should tell you something about succulents because this is an unobstructed south-facing window, and I still need 3 grow lights to grow these with like the color that I like. Let me just turn these off for a second so you can see the color of them. Maybe, unless it's too dark out. Yeah, you can see it okay. So anything that's really pink, really bright color, this is my variegated Graptopetellum, I think. Variegated. That one has some beautiful, beautiful rainbow coloration to it. Anybody who's very colorful needs like so much light. So they live here. Bear paws, variegated Graptivaria titubans, I think. Pink moonstones that are quite thirsty. It's my Echeveria cream tea. Lithops that are in the process of splitting, and I think only about half of those will actually survive. But yeah. I basically just have this shelf for the really colorful ones, the ones that I want to look like really, really nice. So I have to be kind of choosy in which ones I take home, but I want to always have at least like one shelf of succulents because honestly, like these guys bring me so much joy seeing their colors and seeing them change. This little twisty guy is actually getting a little, can you see it? Getting a little twisty baby. Isn't that awesome? Like, I just love these guys. They may grow slowly, but they do grow. They're awesome. On the second shelf, I have 1 grow light for these guys. These are mostly Hoerthias, or green succulents that don't require quite as much light. That guy's red because all the roots rotted off, but he might be rooting back. These are commonly known as ice plants. He's super wrinkly because he needs a lot of water. This is Crassula deceptor, one of my favorites. Baby toe is also one of my favorites. Everyone here is probably really thirsty. These Hoerthia truncatas I really, really love. This one is kind of a dark brown because he's getting thirsty and also getting a lot of sun near the edge. And he's also getting a little baby. Those guys look really cool when they're in like a big cluster. I really, really love those. This is Pseudo-Rhipsalis, I believe. Can't remember the actual species name, but that's the genus name. They get the most beautiful pink color. You can see he's kind of wrinkly, but I feel like he always kind of looks like that. I just can't keep up with it. This is a really cool peperomia, actually. What is this one called? Columella? And I actually really love the way it's just like growing and spilling out of the pot and getting new little babies, and the little windows just catch the light and they're so pretty. Like, I just love that guy. This is, oh man, I can never remember the name of that guy, but he forms a really cool like codex, but he looks like, you know, the other living stones, but he's not the same as like a lithops. Just can't remember the name, or can't pronounce the name. This is a, let me pull him out because I love this guy. Rhipsalis paradoxica, that gets the like sections that like meet each other at right angles. He's also thirsty and is getting attacked by mealybugs. You actually need to be sprayed, so I'm gonna put you over here away from the other plants. He grew from just like the tiniest little sprout, so I'm really, really proud of him. On the bottom shelf, we have some Hoyas. They get a ton of light here, so no extra grow light required. This is Houseplant. Absolutely gorgeous, love it. These guys are probably thirsty. This is a Bella variegata that I've had to like restart, I don't know, 10 times because I don't know what it is about these guys. I always seem to just rot the roots off, like, and then the stem starts to rot too, and it's just a bad situation. So I feel like they've actually done better not being in the greenhouse cabinet. Maybe they're just less prone to rot then. This is a, what even is this? Breviolata, I think. This also grew from just a tiny little 2-leaf cutting, and it's actually starting to look really, really cute. I kind of love this guy more than I thought I would. That's Sarawak, kind of thirsty. Quinquenervia, sun stresses beautifully. Starting to get some sun stress now that it's getting closer to summer. Also quite thirsty and dusty. This is Hoya species Af Bertoniae, apparently. This is also Hoya species Af Bertoniae, but I think they look completely different. But species Af, like, just means similar to Bertoniae, so neither of them are actually Bertoniae. They've just share traits with Bertoniae. Like, see the difference? Like, this one has never really had those like dark leaf margins, and the leaves never have gotten as big, and I feel like the leaves on this one are actually like more velvety, like a lot more velvety. And I feel like this is the one I more commonly see. It would be nice if they would flower. But he does sun stress really nicely, so I do like those guys. They grow quick, can't really complain. This is Acuta intervariegated. Can't tell if he's just super dehydrated and needs water or if he actually just has no roots. I don't know what it is. I've been struggling with this plant forever. Like, I probably had it a year and I still owe my mom a cutting, but it literally has not gotten big enough to cut. So I don't know. That leaf is probably going to die off, actually, because it's turning yellow. Which Hoyas rarely do, but if the leaves are damaged or if they get super, super dry, they will occasionally fall off. This is Fuaensis, I believe. That guy has really, really rigid leaves with cool splashing, and the leaves get quite, I don't know if you can tell, but the leaves get quite large, so I quite like that guy. Outer variegated Pachiclata. Love those guys because they get gorgeous flowers. Can't remember the name of this one, but the leaves look like frosted flakes and it's really cute. Finlaysonii, this is just I don't know, I'd say this is like the standard variety. Love the like the veining, slightly fuzzy, kind of serrated leaves. Love this one. Callistophila, one of my first Hoyas ever. Has a bunch of ants on it for some reason. They're all coming in right now. But I can't tell if they're maybe like eating the mealybugs or if they're eating the plants, so I'm just leaving them for now, I guess. This is Vitellina, I believe. That really needs a drink, but I really love how they get like the black margins. This one. It's a very cool plant in my opinion. Really big leaves too, but I cut this one right back down to the stem, so it's taking a little while to recover. Back there, that's Illagorium. I think that's how you say it. Some of the leaves are, and more mealybugs, great. Some of the leaves are kind of yellow. And a lot of that's just due to the fact that I didn't really know what I was doing when I started with Hoyas. And that one is one of my first ones that has taken a lot of abuse. And when the old leaves get really damaged, sometimes they just don't really recover, which is too bad. But at least they seem to still be functioning for the plant, which is good. This is clemensorium, I think. Is that what they're called? I can't even remember my Hoyas anymore. Haven't gotten any new leaves off this one yet, but I mean, just look at the size of this one. It tends to be the bigger the leaf, the longer they take to grow, so I mean, I guess that one gets a pass. This also, I believe, is a Callistophila variety. I don't know if it's like Calamantin or whatever, but it was sold like with completely the wrong ID, so whatever it is, like, look at the size of that leaf. I'm still pretty happy with it. And it's gotten a second one, not quite as big. The one photobombing, this is a Velosa with fuzzy leaves. And look, he's getting a, uh-oh, now it won't focus. Oh no. Oh, look, he's getting a little fuzzy peduncle. I really, really hope I can actually get that one to flower. That would be so cute. Love that guy. Hoya lacanosa silver, or super silver, can't remember. I think it's super silver, I think, or maybe the other one is just called Splash. I think that's generally how the Hoya naming goes, like the really silver ones are called silver, and then if they're like only partially silver, they're called Splash. I mean, as far as like inexpensive Hoyas go, that has got to be one of the most beautiful ones that you can get. My video skills are not doing it justice, but I love that guy. This is Regita longleaf. Again, big leaves, slow grower, kind of thirsty right now, but pretty much all my Hoyas are. AH074. The splashiness is so unpredictable with these guys, like you just never really know. Back here, some dying Hoyas, a dying compacta outer variegated, and I think this inner variegated obovata is dying as well. Pretty sure that's just my fault due to neglect. This is a really pretty one. Oh my goodness. Okay. At least none of the leaves knocked off. That's good. Okay, well, I'm gonna clean this up. Okay, there we go. Why is it literally always right after you vacuum that you like end up spilling a whole thing of soil on the ground? Anyways. That is, used to be Parasitica. Now I believe, whoa, that white balance went really whack. Now is Verticulata, I think. And a lot of Hoyas are Verticulata. Not sure. These guys have gotten a little neglected, I'll be honest. This is David Kamingii. Not as nice as my mom's plant by a long shot. But again, mine is quite neglected and thirsty. That guy actually really needs a drink. Actually, probably all of the Hoyas on this shelf just need a good drink. This is Nemuluroides, which is a slow grower for me. Has really tiny flowers. Let me pull you out. Because those leaves are actually going yellow, which I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just very dehydrated. Hoya bella inner variegated. One of my favorite plants. Like, oh, these guys are so pretty, especially, like, just look at the way they cascade, and the blooms are so pretty. When they sun stress, they're beautiful. Like, I love these guys, even though, again, I really struggle with bellas. They're such sensitive little plants. It's like if you overwater them, they rot. If you underwater them, the leaves dry up really quickly. There's a dead one on the ground over there. Like, but look how beautiful that is. Like, that's just so worth it. This is a Macrophylla Snow Queen. Not the splashiest one, but doing okay. This is a lacunosa splash. I've been kind of rehabbing it. It should look a little bit more plump, but I've had to like reroot this one a couple times, so I think finally we're in the clear. Just gonna pull this one out for a sec because this one has gone crazy lately. This is actually two Hoyas, Kamuki Pink and Onychoides, but they look so similar. I think this one on the left is Onychoides, I think. Should mention, just passing by, this is my Monstera that I've had for, well, a long time. 4 years, 4 years. That's pretty good, I think. I just got a nice bamboo pole for it. You can see it kind of has outgrown its moss pole. And look at the roots. Look at that. Oh man, that probably needs repotted really bad, but honestly, like, I'm not going to be able to get that repotted without smashing that pot. And honestly, like, where do you even get a pot that's bigger than that? So he's probably just going to have to live in there for the foreseeable future. I guess I shouldn't pass by this guy, can I? So my goal is to grow some really big Marble Queen pothos leaves, because they can get like really big. And honestly, like, these leaves are beautiful. Considering how inexpensive this plant is, the bang for your buck is like tremendous. These guys are honestly just so easy, so beautiful. And they'll climb onto almost anything. You can see it mounting itself. I mean, I have to use this tape to keep it going in the right direction, but they mount themselves pretty well. And as they climb, they should get bigger and bigger leaves. So we'll see. They definitely do better on this side where they get some natural light from the window, but also they get to benefit from the grow light for the succulents. So really, really love this plant. Has some yellow leaves at the bottom. Haven't bothered to take those off. I guess I'll pick those off now. My Dubai is in this corner as well, sizing up. Just on a piece of driftwood. The roots are really cool how they just like grow on top of each other. But I do sometimes forget about him because he's kind of like in the corner. Okay, let's do quick. There's Decker sleeping over on the couch. Okay, here is Big Gloriosum. Love this plant. I just repotted it into a new pot. There's no drainage hole. It'll be fine. I know how to water these guys, so it'll be okay. My crystallinum crossed with magnificum lives out here in room humidity. A little bit of yellowing around the edges, but that is okay. Getting a inflorescence. But I'm hoping that the pollen I collected from this one, I can use to pollinate this inflorescence once it gets sticky. You'll notice like sticky sap when it's ready to pollinate, so that'll be interesting. My variegated Alocasia macrorrhiza mother, it just put out this new leaf, which is a bit more variegated. The stem is very variegated. This plant goes back and forth on me a lot with like very green leaves to very variegated leaves. Honestly, it just hasn't done too well over the winter, not getting enough light. I don't have a great spot for it. Actually seems to be pretty happy right now, so that is good. All right, greenhouse cabinet time. This is crystalline black. This is papillanum. How do you even say that one? Papillanum, something like that, crossed with, I believe, magnificum. Very nice dark foliage. Luxurians. My queen anthurium. So large, it's hard to get her in the whole frame. Now, she's gotten, like, her leaves have yellowed a little bit. So she only has two right now. I'm not really sure if, you know, there's something wrong, but the roots seem good. I think it's maybe just humidity drops a little bit, and, you know, sometimes they just do that. This is Flavolineanum, which is a new addition to the collection. This is Ace of Spades, supposedly. Who else do we have? We have an A obliqua. Maybe now if I turn the light on, it'd be better. Yeah, have an obliqua, have a little regale that's recovering. Moodianum with those beautiful dark purple leaves. New leaf on the crystallinum black. What else do we have in here? I feel like sometimes I lose track. This is a little baby Queen Anthurium. Not doing the greatest right now, but she also just got moved to soil, so she's probably still just adjusting to that. This is, oh, what is that one? It is supposedly Dark Mama crossed with Papilliminum, which I think will be really gorgeous when it grows up. This is a pedatum that I imported and is amazingly coming back to life. I really thought that one was a goner. Have a veitchii back here that is just getting a new leaf. Love these. This is a little anthurium seedling. And what is the parentage on that one? I think that's Ace of Spades, Magnificum and Ace of Spades. It always takes a little while to see what they're really going to look like, but she seems like she'll be nice and dark. This is Weraquianum crossed with Waterberryanum, I think. Really lovely, understated, long, regal anthurium. Really, really love that one. Okay, Hoya shelf, one of my favorite. Okay, and one yellow variegated Addisoni who is interloping. But yeah, mostly Hoyas on the shelf. Meredithii, Archboldiana, outer variegated, Rangsen, Splash, Lori Lynn, Crassipetiolata Splash that definitely has root rot because it should not be this wrinkly. Mini Bell Splash, Sulosiana that I've had a long journey with but is finally starting to give me some nice sized leaves. This is Hoya, as you can see, Hoya mannii, apparently the round form. I don't know if that comes from if that's the one that comes from Borneo or how it works out exactly. Anyways, Hoya Michelle, not the splashiest one in the world, but doing okay. My mother, Wilbur Graves, China, getting some new growth. Oh, I just love watching the silver come in on these leaves. It's like a nice little surprise every time. I just love that. Wah! Not another one. Okay, not letting another Hoya fall over today. That's the problem. Hoyas get so top heavy. That is a Kengiana. Is that, or is it Keningiana? No, it's Kengiana? I think it's Kengiana. Getting some new growth, which I'm really happy about. Silver Dollar, which I did put on a trellis because I'd like the vine to actually grow some leaves. This is New Guinea Ghost, which is getting some new growth, new leaves. Super exciting. Wrinkly means it's thirsty. I just watered it a little bit ago and it hasn't plumped back up. Ooh, look at the Nova Ghost in the back there getting some new leaves. Ah, that's so exciting. Rinsey Borneo getting a new leaf as well. Now I cut that one right back to the stem, which I don't think it had any leaves on it. I don't recommend doing that. It seems to take them a long time to recover when you do that. I completely forget the name of the one in the back there. It starts with a B. Sun Stresses. One of my first Hoyas, so again, not looking too hot, but the fact that it's even alive is like honestly a miracle. This is Hoya Thompsonii. Look how splashy that is. This plant I got just with a bunch of other Thompsonii that were just normal, so it was really cheap. It was probably like $12 or something like that. And it's taken forever to grow, but it's continued putting out these like really splashy leaves, which is just awesome. Like, I'm so happy about that. That's like, I don't usually get lucky, but that one I feel like I got lucky. Silver Lady, Undulata. This one I seem to struggle with getting like fungus on it in the greenhouse, so you may have to move out. But again, doing really well. There's I think that's Colina. I don't think it's Biacensis. I think it's Colina. Really splashy, starting to grow really quickly. Love that one. And that's another plant that I grew from like just like a 2-leaf cutting, so I'm very proud of that one. This is one that I am really proud of. This is a dischidia dragon scale, I think it's called, or dragon jade. I, as you can maybe see from the old growth, could never grow it, and I treated it more like a succulent. But ever since I have given it more humidity in the cabinet, but also bright light and fertilize it and water it a bit more regularly, the growth actually has been really, really nice. And I'm really thrilled with that because they can be super slow growers. And for years I could not, for the life of me, get it to grow. In the back, Hoya spartioides, getting a few yellow leaves, but I think that's, well, these are technically long peduncles. I think that's only because they were buried beneath the soil, and sometimes that happens to the leaves that get buried. Let me just pick these off because I don't like seeing yellow things in my greenhouse, especially when I know the plants are healthy. You know, kind of just like makes me panic. Okay, these are under counter lights, which is why they're like being controlled by hand motions. They're not designed for plants, but they work. It's a little bit annoying though that they keep shutting off. Yeah, love Spartioides. That is just such a cool plant. Okay, next shelf. This used to be just like philodendrons and stuff. Now it's a mix. Some Hoyas in there. Some anthuriums, just trying to see if they'll grow here. This is Stephania erecta. I've always had a struggle with these guys not growing leaves for me, just only growing flowers. But I feel like we've kind of finally gotten to the point where I'm going to get some leaves, which is cool. One of my many mycorrhiza variegated babies. That is a varicosum, I believe. Not doing too well. But man, these guys like always look unhealthy. I don't know how people grow them really nicely. Atapaboense, I think. Syngonium albo. Standeliana variegated, and ooh, look. It's getting another half moon leaf. That one has been super consistent. I am super impressed with this plant for never going all white on me. So thank you. That's going to be stunning. This is Schismatoglottis Thailand, I believe. It's pretty, I guess. Little Veitchii import that's amazingly actually surviving and coming back to life. This is actually Philodendron Eupii. I think this leaf you can actually kind of start to tell that it's a Eupii. It's just got ever so slightly the suggestion of little baby lobes. And this one grew from just a teeny tiny little tissue culture baby. So I'm really happy about that. It's a fast grower. Like, see this little leaf? That's what the size of all the leaves were when I got it. And I just moved it to soil a little bit ago. Hoya helwigiana, which, ooh yeah, look at that. It's getting a peduncle. The last blooms it had blasted, unfortunately, but we'll see if this time we do better. Aglaonema pictum tricolor. actually growing pretty fast for me now, getting a lot of leaves, looking pretty lush, which I'm super happy about. Monstera albo. This is like, honestly, my favorite leaf in the whole world. Look at that. Perfect half moon, half marbled, some fenestrations. Like, that's just like quintessential Monstera albo, is it not? I think so. Now I did take a couple head cuttings, or sorry, yeah, bottom cuttings, and this is the top cutting from this Monstera, so it's taken a little bit to recover. I don't think it's getting any new leaves yet, but it's alive, so. And still has a fenestration despite being cut. That's the newest leaf. So that's always nice to see. This is Philodendron Majestic, I think. Needs a pole to climb on. And the new leaf is coming out like super orangey, pink, yellow, which is really cool. And it doesn't have spider mites or anything. This is like a sulfur powder that I sprayed on here just to see if that would help with any mold developing. It was just something I'm experimenting with. I'd really love to see this guy get bigger. He is just beautiful. This is a Pastazanum Silver Neve, which has mealybugs. That's just great. Okay, well, you're coming out. I very rarely get mealybugs on my aroids, but this is also an old leaf, and if you have an unhealthy leaf, that's kind of just the way it is. They're much more likely to get attacked by bugs. But I'll take care of that. I think that's most of the highlights for this shelf. Okay, next shelf. This has the brightest grow light, so anything I'm propagating or going to sell eventually, or things that just need a lot of light and I'm trying to grow them quickly, or it's like an alocasia where I know they like a lot of light and a lot of heat because it also gets quite warm here. This is where they live. So this is Mellow, Alocasia Mellow, one of my favorites. Alocasia Aslanii, getting a new leaf that's going to be stunning. The way these guys look is really dependent on lighting conditions. They look kind of dull now, but maybe if I do that, yeah, then you can kind of see the, oh yeah, you can see the pink veining a bit better. It just depends on how the leaves like catch the light. So because of that, oh wow, that's like such a cool plant. I love those guys. Almost killed it, managed to save it, so also pretty proud of that. Alocasia Frydek, variegated baby, silver dragon baby that's not such a baby anymore. This guy grew from a corm. That is a Jacqueline, Alocasia Jacqueline, that I bought as a rehab and is currently rehabbing. My Florida Ghost, honestly, this guy just gets so neglected, but he has like a ton of growth points. So I chopped off the head to try and get some of the other ones to activate. So hopefully he gets a bit more bushy. The little obliqua baby growing in there, I think. There's also, I also have them in live moss. So sometimes the moss kind of is all you can see. Syngonium Milk Confetti, one of my very favorite syngoniums. Super easy. Jose Bono, which I have cut many times. So the oldest leaf is kind of dying off. This is a new leaf since the chop. Smaller, but man, these guys root and recover so quickly. Alocasia cuprea baby. Syngonium red spot tricolor, one of my, well, this is probably my very favorite philodendron. Syngonium, because I just feel like you get a little bit of everything. Alocasia macrorrhiza, variegated, getting an all-white leaf. This one, we'll see if it's all white. That's not good if it is, but we'll see. In the back, in these little domes, these are Alocasia reticulata babies, and that one is actually finally getting a new leaf, which is very impressive. These guys have taken forever, and I mean forever, to root, but I find that generally, like, the smaller the corms are, the longer they take to root and grow. So maybe I should have left them on the mother plant a bit longer. Who knows? This is my Syngonium aurea, which has always had very nice variegation. So I took a cutting and it looks like that leaf is actually going to be nicely variegated. He's in the highlight section because I find that the variegation is more vibrant, like more yellow if you give them more light. If you don't give them enough light, then it kind of stays more of a greenish color. And this is variegated fried egg baby, variegated fried egg baby. I pulled like 3 of them off my plant the other day, which was really cool to find. Okay, last IKEA greenhouse. This has the bigger plants in it. Palletiflorium, which is getting another new leaf. This plant is on fire, like it just can't be stopped. I have to find a better way to mount it. Like, it's honestly just so big, and the way it hangs down, like it's kind of hard to figure out the right way to grow these guys and display them, but that is one of my all-time favorite plants. Like, if I could only keep 10, this would definitely make the cut. Calathea White Fusion, which I wanted for a long time, and my husband finally found for me, which was super, super sweet. Philodendron Ring of Fire, super easygoing. Cut this one right back. Wow, that variegation is actually really, really nice. And they're a beautiful color when they come in. Have a melanochrysum in the back here. I've chopped this one so many times, it should be bigger. What it really needs now is like a bigger pole and just to let it climb and hopefully get big. Midrium Medium Silver, love the silver version. If you like Cebu, Pothos, Epipremnum technically. It yeah, has a really, really gorgeous color. It's like the same color. Clarinervium, for some reason, Clarinerviums have never liked me, but this one is getting a new leaf. This is Plymanii with the ruffled petioles, starting to look really, really pretty. This is my Thai constellation, which really doesn't need to live in the greenhouse. Like, this guy could live almost anywhere. He's so beautiful. The stems are gorgeous, and it's like, it almost seems like no matter what I do, if I cut him, whatever, he still comes out with beautiful leaves. But I want nothing more than to have like a massive Thai constellation that's like, you know, has the 2 feet wide leaves. That's like my ultimate goal. So I guess I should stop cutting him if I want that. But look at that variegation. Oh, that's just so pretty. Okay, this is Syngonium batique, I believe. I don't know how it's pronounced. Finally giving me some beautiful leaves. Like, that pattern right there, that's what people come for. Not, you know, this. Like, I don't know why for a long time it was just like giving me really, really ugly leaves. But now that I've given it something to climb, it's a little bit more mature. It's getting good light. It's giving me nice leaves. This is El Chaco Red. You can see the backs don't stay red. This one has had a little bit of struggle with spider mites and also I think a fungal infection. Just kind of sensitive plants, to be honest, in my opinion. But is alive and, you know, is doing pretty well. This is Monstera Esqueleto, and honestly, what should I even say about this guy? Like, he's just massive and I love him. This is, again, one of my very favorite plants. He needs like a better pole, I think, because he will soon outgrow this choir pole that he has. But even just the fact that, look, this is a new leaf. Wow. That's still growing. Just the fact that he's been able to get this big, like with just a choir pole, like nothing special, I feel like that says a lot. This is my Glorious, which is doing much better than it was. See, that's the previous leaf. See how much bigger the new leaves have gotten? Yeah, they size up much more quickly than, say, like a melanochrysum. Look at all the sticky stuff, though. Look at that. Look at that. I really think that's just extra floral nectaries. Like, I don't think that's pests, because I see other people's glorious doing the same thing, but like that's a lot of nectar. This is Magnificum. Not sure why all the leaves have come out so deformed. I thought it was like maybe low humidity, but I mean, he's been in consistent humidity just like all my other anthuriums. So I decided to put him in this greenhouse. It's a little bit less humid because, you know, if he was going to grow bad leaves in high humidity, he might as well grow bad leaves in low humidity, you know. Spanish moss, technically Tillandsia, air plant. This is Forgetii. Gorgeous, massive. There you can see some of the sheen. Beautiful. I love that guy. This is my Alocasia Friedek, variegated. Had a little bit of a tantrum when I took him out of the greenhouse, and now he's back in a greenhouse. Doesn't always produce the most variegated leaves, but that's fine. Like, need to produce some chlorophyll too. And he's given me lots of babies, so I feel like I can't complain about that. So yeah, hopefully he'll just keep growing, getting more variegated. Okay, very quickly, some of the plants outside the cabinet. Burrow's Tail, Scindapsus silvery, and Alocasia Stingray, which always has spider mites and is going outside for the summer. This is used to be known as Philodendron Goldii. Mine is not looking the greatest, but these guys look fantastic when they're mature. So hopefully I can get just more leaves on that one. Oh, this guy fell over. I don't really have a good spot for this one. I should probably take him out of this glass terrarium because he's kind of squished in there, but I've had this guy for years. This is a staghorn fern. The bifurcatum, just the standard variety. But I love the way they get these like fronds, just the unique way they grow is just so cool. I should really get more staghorn ferns. I think the biggest problem is you kind of need a unique spot to be able to grow them so that they'll really thrive. Here we have Philodendron micans. I actually like this plant a lot more than I thought I would. The dark velvety leaves are really nice, and if it can survive here where there's low light, then I'm all for it. Some calatheas, or this is what? Oh, that's not technically calathea. Tenanthe? Is that what that one is? Yeah. Wubersii? Something like that. Really pretty yellow variegation in chunks. And honestly, like I have this one in a self-watering pot. Never gives me any problems. Only gets about probably 50-foot candles here. Still looks great. Stromanthe Triostar. Absolutely love these guys for their red backs, but honestly, I've always kind of struggled. So I recently repotted this one, still in a self-watering. We'll see if he does any better. Plant wall. Dischidia mount with a whole bunch of different types. Dischidia numularia. Is that the ones with the pointy ones? Maybe. Variegated, which is really, really cute. Orchid mount. This is a Paphomicranthum. Paphio. Oh man, I don't even remember the full name. This is, I should turn it so you can actually see it. One of my orchids from Crystal Star that I've actually gotten to rebloom, which is exciting. I never did very well with orchids until I started mounting them, and then I actually got some blooms off of them. I think the wet-dry cycles is really key for a lot of them, so yeah, they seem to be doing way better on here. Ooh, that guy's actually really pretty in the light. Yeah, look at that. I like that guy a lot more than I did at first, actually. That's awesome. Dischidia ovata, which is sometimes known as watermelon. grown from just a couple tiny cuttings and now has totally taken off. Linearis, I tried to propagate some of these, but they haven't done super great, so it's just a small plant right now. Syngonium erythrophyllum. Sorry, the lighting is not great anymore. The sun's kind of gone down on me. Beautiful red backs and pretty easygoing. This is the Nemularia. I think it's Nemularia. Nemularoides is Hoya. Man, it's so hard to keep track. So what is this guy? Ruscifolia? Ruscifolia? Maybe that's what it is. Dischidia ruscifolia, variegated, something like that. Have a little cream splash, I think. This grew from just like teeny tiny cuttings. But he's actually doing really well, which is awesome. Plants at the bottom here don't get a lot of light until they start trailing down. So I'm actually surprised they've done as well as they have. Hoya Sunrise, which was, oh, that's not good. Okay, well, you're getting treated, I guess. See how it is? Like, plant looks fine, and then in between the leaves, like, all of a sudden you get a bunch of mealybugs, and this is why you have problems with mealybugs. Sigillatus, beautiful pink tones on this guy. I love these. Is he actually getting some new growth for me, though? That's the question. Oh, it looks like he was, and it's dried up. That's sad. But he is a little thirsty. I've had issues with this one rotting on me before, and at least it looks as pretty as it does right now. Little Syngonium green. I think this is called Green Splash. It has another name, but I can't think of it. This is Hoya erythrina. Beautiful veins, gets sun-stressed really nicely. Seems to grow pretty quickly. Glossy, love it. Pitchii, I'm also spotting a mealybug. They always like to go for the new growth. That is String of Pearls, variegated. This is White Princess, not the nicest variegation in the world. To be honest, I bought it because of this one leaf that had some pink on it as well, but you know, the variegation hasn't not continued to be as nice, so I don't know what I'll do with that one. This is Scalprum, but he's kind of been struggling, as you can see. Bit of a rehab. That's okay. Not all of my plants look super pretty. This is Little Pink Princess. I'm actually really loving that new leaf. They were, you know, at one time they were really expensive and then they were really cheap and all the nurseries had them, so I thought I might as well pick one up. This one had a bunch of growth points, so I thought, well, maybe I'll get one that turns out to be really nice. So kind of happy with those, how those are going in. I think tissue culture has been really good for Pink Princess because there's just so many, like, I feel like a lot of times the tissue culture ones, as long as they've started with like a good mother plant, tend to be better than the non-tissue culture ones. Yeah, anyways. Hoya obovata, love, I just love like everything about this plant. I love the little splashes. I love how round the leaves are. I love how thick they are. This one probably is getting a bit too much light. So the leaves should be a bit darker green, but just a very easygoing Hoya. Hoya australis lisa. Mine was starting to revert, so I chopped it and it's starting to grow back. And this is Philodendron White Wizard. Yeah, it has beautiful variegation, not gonna lie. But I also paid a lot of money for that variegation, which I feel like people don't realize when they're asking for cuttings and stuff. It's much more than you can get the, you know, little tissue culture ones for now for like $30 or something. So, anyway, I guess sometimes you get what you pay for. And this is a little Hoya caudata that was gifted to me. I guess we should say hi to River, since he is not getting enough attention. And just take a very, very, very quick look at the frog vivarium. Like, this could be a tour in itself, and I really need to rescape it. One thing I'm really proud of is one of my air plants is actually gonna flower in here, which I've never had happen before. Unless you have an environment like this though, it's really difficult to keep air plants alive. They need a lot more light than people think, and it's so easy to get water in their crown and rot them. That's been my experience. And this bird of paradise is not actually mine. I'm just babysitting it, and it's just, you know, borrowing some of the light. But yeah, that is pretty much all my plants. I'll show you the ones that are in the bathroom as well, just very quickly, but I keep most of my plants in here. I just find having the care consolidated makes a big difference. Here are a few plants that I have in my bathroom. This is really the only other room that I actually have plants in. I've tried to cut down the plants I had in here. I used to have a few more calatheas. I know these guys have been reclassified, but I'm still gonna call them calatheas just because that's, you know, what I first knew them as, and I think a lot of people still know them as. So yeah, this is one of my absolute favorites, the Calathea orbifolia. And this is a west-facing window that's frosted because it's in the bathroom. I feel like this light is just too good not to take advantage of, and it's shining in really nicely right now. I used to have a few more up on that ledge, but I found they didn't do as good. This is my variegated lipstick plant. It's not looking super variegated, but it is getting some, like, a bunch of little flowers on it, which is pretty cool. I tried to sell this guy. I haven't tried listing it locally or anything yet. I might just keep him and see how he does here. Like, I like him, I just am undecided, right? Like, he takes up a lot of space, but I guess in this spot he's kind of pretty, so I guess he can stay for now. He is in a self-watering pot. That's really the only way I keep any of these guys alive, is a self-watering pot. This is a little Calathea Dottie hiding under there, probably not getting enough light. Like, she would be a lot prettier and darker if she was getting more light, but that's just, you know, light is a pretty precious commodity in this household, so not everybody gets the prime spot, unfortunately. This is one of my favorites, Calathea. Used to be called Network or Musaica, I believe, but it's been like completely reclassified. This one has been in this spot for a long time, again in a self-watering pot. Nothing special. These are just the Garden Basics ones, I think, from Amazon. Obviously it gets crispy leaves. I will probably just cut that one off. But it does pretty well. I've kind of given up on giving these guys filtered or distilled water. Like, it's hard enough to just give them water, period. So they usually just get the tap water, since, you know, in the bathroom that's just the water that's available. But I do still really love this plant. Like, of all the Calatheas, I don't see myself getting rid of this one. Like, just look at how cool that pattern is. I feel like it's one you don't really appreciate so much when you just see a big plant from far away, but if you like just see one leaf or you look closely at it, it's really, really unique. I don't know any other plant that gets those cells like that. It's very, very interesting. So I will definitely keep that one. And this one also taught me a good lesson about fertilizing Calatheas. I'm always worried about that because you don't want to burn the leaves, but after I fertilized, the leaves actually got a lot darker and bigger too, actually. Like, look at the size of that new leaf. So that's the key with Calatheas is just like, you know, cut off the old leaves when they start to look ugly. They'll always push up new ones sooner or later. This guy also needs a bit of a trim, looking a little yellow, but hey, I mean, they're pretty low maintenance in self-watering, so I just don't worry about them too much. This is a Philodendron Brazil. Let me step in my tub so you can see this. This guy has small leaves, but oh wow, he's taken like so much abuse. He's the only one not in self-watering, so he, you know, he dries out pretty much to the bone. And he just keeps growing. So I like that guy. Again, this is one I've thought about getting rid of before, but you know, he just like doesn't demand too much, so he can stay. And wow, this guy's looking really good. This is a black pagoda lipstick plant. I'm not sure how to pronounce the Latin name. He needs a bit of a cleanup, like at the top. The top is very sparse. So you can see he's not looking so good. But those long trailing leaves are just like my favorite. He's perfect for this spot, I think. So I think if I just give him a bit of a trim up top, and then he puts out some new growth that starts trailing down, it'll just be really nice. Love that guy. And they have very like red backs. You can also see the pattern on the back. So really, really cool, interesting plant, no matter which kind of direction they're facing. And this guy's been in the same self-watering pot since I got him, and you know, he seems to be happy. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my non-living room plants. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this little tour. And let me know in a few months if you want to see an update.